Good afternoon and welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I'm Charles Piers. In the headlines, Oji River beckons for investment as Governor Mba unveils economic summit. Enugu State government signs an MOU with a firm to develop business park. Pope Francis coughing arrives at St. Peter's Basilica in procession, and Flying Eagles beat Egypt in friendly ahead of Under-20 AFCON. Details in a moment. The Enugu State Governor, Peter Mba, says the state government will partner with local governments for the rapid economic development of the state. Governor Mba, who stated this while declaring open an economic and development summit organized by the Oji River local government on Tuesday, said there is an influx of foreign and local investors to the state as a result of a conducive business environment put in place by the state government. Correspondent Ugone Walo was at the council headquarters venue of the summit and now reports.
Oji River is one of the oldest urban centers in the state, having established status in 1984, along with several other local government areas in the old Anambra states. It is the third to be given an urban status in the present Enugu state after Enugu and Asaba. This age-long status has not, however, impacted on the development of the area, with many citizens lamenting the current infrastructure deficit and other negative indexes in the area. It is to address this disturbing problem that the Investment and Economic Summit was put together by the present leadership of the local government council. Speaking at the summit, Governor Peter Mba, who was represented by Adora Chukwu, Commissioner for Trade, Investment and Industry, called on investors to tap into the vast potential of the local government area. Mba highlighted local government investment opportunities, emphasizing that participation will unlock new possibilities and shape its future.
Oji River embodies the economic prospects that our entire state possesses, owing to its strategic location and abundant resources, and recently designated as an urban center. This local government area boasts of 25 untapped tourism sites, from waterfalls to
25
scenic hilltops
untapped
to the cultural
tourism
festivals that
sites.
showcase the soul of the Igbo people.
The State Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, Ugochi Madueke, noted that Oji River local government area is blessed with vast cultural heritage and tourist attractions. These resources, she said, should be tapped for the development of the area.
Oji River sits as the crossroads of Enugu State, Anambra State, and Abia State. We are not just a local government. We are a border town with strategic reach, able to pull visitors and businesses from 3 states. This makes us a prime location for regional tourism and hospitality development.
The local government chairman, Greg Anyebudike, said the summit aligns with Governor Peter Mba's mandate to drive economic growth and development. Anyebudike encouraged potential investors to seize the opportunities in Oji River, assuring them of a conducive business environment.
Graciously, on the 11th of January, His Excellency declared the Oji River Urban Center. So today in Oji River, we are no longer thinking rural, we are thinking urban. We had a vision for Oji River to be a destination for living, commerce, and trade. And I'm saying, please come and invest in Oji, because Oji can never develop if Oji does not develop it.
Minority Whip and Representative of Enugu West Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Ositambu, charged the local government to ensure the implementation of the recommendation put forward at the summit.
But when you invest home, you will even attract outsiders to come and invest in your place. Doji is ready to receive investment.
Some participants at the summit, including Honorable Jeff Mba, former representative of Otu River in the Enugu State House of Assembly, and Dennis Onizurike, expressed optimism about the potential impact of the summit across various sectors in the Otu River local government area.
All hands will be on deck, both in providing security, both in providing the land, and even infrastructure. And even when the infrastructure is provided, we have to protect, we have to own it. If everybody should be involved in the development of the community, and they are committed, they are passionate about it, which will work. I have very high expectations. When I was called up for this event, this summit, we took the mental health in Nigeria, except for the agriculture and other investments. We now have smart schools everywhere. I'm expecting the investors to come in to help us build the school.
The Oju River Economic and Development Summit 2025 was no doubt a platform for stakeholders to explore investment opportunities and share ideas that can shape the future of the local government. It is therefore hoped that the rich natural water resources, agricultural potentials, human endowment, and strategic location present compelling attractions for investment and the economic growth of the area. From Oju River local government area of Enugu State, Ugonne Owalo reporting for Signature TV.
A lecturer in the Department of Finance at the University of Lagos, Dr. Peter Ama, has advised the federal government to take another look at its economic policies and remove the inherent pains. Dr. Ama, who spoke in an interview with Signature TV, noted that even though the policy reforms are good in themselves, the timing, concept, and implementation are bad. He said that all the markets and economic indices in the country have been negatively impacted by the reforms with accompanying backlash.
Removal of subsidy and also the naira, the naira dollar parity issues. They are very wonderful policies. They are good policies on themselves. But the problem is the timing of this policy is bad. And also the context of the policy is also bad. From the way they are even implementing the policy, it appears that there were no very strong plans in place for implementation. Because when you make a plan, when you make a policy, you have to also plan for the implementation. And in doing this, you look at the potential impact of the policy and mitigating measures in place. However, you have to make sure that you are implementing it at the right time. And also that you are putting in place measures, that will support the weak segments of the society. Because definitely there's going to be fallout of these policies. And that is what has happened. And that is what makes the whole policy wrong.
The finance expert said it is not a sign of weakness to reverse a policy when it does not produce the desired results. Ama therefore told the government and its economic team to return to the drawing board and rejig the policy results.
Goods market, the financial market, labor market, the foreign exchange market, these are the components of the economy. All the markets, check all these four markets I mentioned, all of them are on their knees right now. So that means you have to put in place supportive policies for those markets to wither the storm of this policy. I will will not say that you should, that at this point you should maybe go back to the era of subsidies or go back to the era of using administrative fiat to fix the value of naira in the foreign exchange market. Okay, now that you have already started doing the policy, put in place frameworks that will mitigate the, the problems.
President Bola Tinubu has lauded the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, for fostering regional integration. Tinubu spoke on Tuesday in Accra, Ghana, at the inauguration of a series of events to mark the regional body's Golden Jubilee. President Tinubu, also the chairman of the ECOWAS authorities of heads of states and government, who was presented by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, noted that ECOWAS had remained a beacon of hope for the region's more than 400 million citizens. The members to see the organization not merely a community of people, but as a community of states where the region must invest in education, innovation, and skills development to unleash Africa's full potential. President John Mahama of Ghana said the community citizens must feel that ECOWAS was not just some bureaucracy, but a living organization that understood their hopes and aspirations. He also announced that Ghana would offer 1,000 scholarships to university students across the ECOWAS sub-region to enhance educational opportunities for young people in West Africa. Circulating among the public, falsely claiming to be a Bola empowerment program. In a press statement released on Tuesday by National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka, the APC alerted Nigerians about the scam message. The message requested banking details from recipients, promising a payment of 85,000 naira for Bola Tinubu empowerment, and urged them to call a specific phone number. The Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Audu, says that the federal government is committed to creating an enabling environment for the steel sector to operate effectively. Audu, who made this known during a courtesy visit to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, commended the Lagos State government for its consistency in creating an enabling environment for the steel sector to operate effectively. He emphasized the importance of addressing challenges faced by the steel sector to meet President Bola Tinubu's objective of creating a $1 trillion economy. In his remarks, Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, emphasized the importance of addressing the power sector challenges facing the industry. The governor highlighted the state's initiatives to boost power generation. Sanwo-Olu said that the Lagos State government was ready to collaborate with the federal government to ensure revitalization of steel industries in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the Abia State government says it has put measures in place to address the concerns raised by the Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, to avert impending strike in the state. The Commissioner for Information, OK Kanu, disclosed this at a press briefing on the outcome of the State's Executive Council held in Umuahia. The Commissioner said that the section of the teachers had expressed dissatisfaction, particularly over salary differentials between primary school teachers and their counterparts in junior secondary schools. He described the situation as being blown out of proportion, attributing the online agitation over the development to the opposition, who were seeking to politicize the issue. Kanu said that the current administration consistently shows commitment to the welfare of Abia workers and pensioners and had deliberately designed policies to incentivize teachers who had left the classroom and moved to this ministry during the previous administration due to unpaid salaries. The NUT had in a press statement signed by its leadership directed its members to proceed with an indefinite strike on Thursday over its unmet demands, which include non-implementation of the teacher salary structure, 65 years retirement age, and 40 elongation of service policy for teachers, among others. Meanwhile, workers in employment of the federal government have commenced an indefinite strike in Oyo State over non-payment of their 5-month outstanding wage awards. The workers under the platform of the Federal Workers Forum declared the commencement of the strike on Tuesday at the front of the Federal Secretariat in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, vowing to continue until the demands are met by the federal government. National Coordinator of the Workers Forum, Andrew Emelieze, and Secretary General Itoro Obong, while speaking during the commencement of the strike, noted that the workers had earlier issued a 21-day ultimatum to the federal government before the strike was declared. The duo said that the workers are demanding immediate payments of outstanding 5 months' wage award arrears and implementation of 40% peculiar allowance and the payment of his arrears. The Enugu State Government and the Lion Business Park Limited have signed a memorandum of understanding to build a world-class industrial and commercial hub within the Enugu Industrial Park Free Trade Zone. Speaking at the Government House, Enugu Governor Peter Mbah said the project would leverage the incentives associated with doing business in a free trade zone to attract foreign direct investments. He said the project will also promote human capital innovation and technology development, as well as create jobs for shared economic prosperity for Enugu State, the Southeast, and Nigeria at large. The chairman of the firm, Dr. Okechukwu Mbonu, commended the governor for his visionary leadership, developmental strides, and achievements within a short period in office. Mbonu said that the company was poised to develop industrial and commercial hub that would catalyze trade, industry, economic growth, and create jobs for the youth population. Meanwhile, the administrator of Rivers State, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ekwe-Bas, has appealed to the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) Rivers State chapter to play a pivotal role in fostering peace, reconciliation, and stability in the state amidst ongoing political and security challenges. Ibas, who spoke at a meeting with CAN leaders at the Government House in Port Harcourt, emphasized the importance of moral guidance by the Church in restoring harmony in the state. The administrator urged CAN to leverage its influence by preaching peace not only to their congregations, but also to the communities, thereby promoting unity across ethnic and political divides, to encourage forgiveness and reconciliation. The leader of the delegation, Most Reverend Dr. Kala Dokubot, appealed to the administrator to involve the group in the peace-building process and to ensure that critical aspects of governance are not ignored during the period of emergency rule, especially environmental sanitation. Up ahead, Kano State's Pension Board declares 21 billion naira out of 48.6 billion naira owed pensions. IMF projects 3% economic growth for Nigeria. Do stay with us. Welcome back. The Kano State Pension Board says it has cleared over 21 billion naira in pension liabilities out of a total debt of 48.6 billion naira inherited from the previous administrations in the state. The executive chairman of the Kano State Pension Fund, Habu Fage, made this known while addressing newsmen in Kano. He said part of the recovery began when Governor Abba Yusuf approved deductions from the source for pension remittances, restoring regular payments and enabling the board to reach 100% monthly pension disbursement. Fage praised the governor for showing empathy, noting that even though the debt was inherited, the governor took responsibility and ensured payments were made purely out of concern for the pensioners. On the issue of illegal deductions under the previous government, Fage admitted that investigations were hindered by missing records, saying that without evidence, litigations would be fruitless and distract the board from its core duty. He expressed optimism, citing recent increase in public sector salaries and upcoming mass employment plans by the state government as potential boosts to pension contributions. The Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Dr. Ahmed Audi, has ordered the immediate detention of officers accused of involvement in the alleged 5.2 million naira extortion from some travelers. A statement by the NSCDC Public Relations Officer Afolabi Babawale on Wednesday in Abuja said the detention follows an investigation ordered by the Minister of Interior, Olubimi Tunjiojo. Audi directed that the suspects should be transported to NSCDC National Headquarters in Abuja for further investigation to enable the Corps Disciplinary Committee to carry out a full-scale investigation into the alleged extortion report as directed by the minister. Audi assured Nigerians that the Corps will not shield anyone found culpable of corrupt practices or any form of compromise, as erring officers would be held accountable for their individual actions through appropriate sanctions to serve as a deterrent to others. The CG urged the public not to be deterred in relating with the Corps by providing or by proving necessary information that will eradicate harassment or extortion of citizens. A viral social media post alleged that some NSCDC officers extorted 5.2 million naira from a group of young men traveling from Ekiti to Akure, Ondo State. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has tasked officers to be diligent and fair to the general public in the discharge of their duties and to uphold the highest standards of professionalism, integrity, and service. Egbetokun gave the charge during the commissioning of a newly built and donated multi-million naira divisional police station by a philanthropist, Dr. Ibrahim Ali at Imane in Olomoboro local government area of Kogi State. Represented by the Kogi Commissioner of Police, Mela Dantawaye, the IG reminded them of their roles as law enforcers who should, by training, adopt a high level of maintenance culture. While thanking the donor for his magnanimity in donating the police station to the force, the IG urged them, other well-meaning Nigerians, to emulate him in assisting the police in keeping the peace in Nigeria. In his welcome address, Dr. Ali said that the police station represents more than just a physical structure to the people of the community, but a shared commitment in fostering a secured environment where citizens can thrive. Some filling stations and petroleum products marketers, partners of Dangote Refinery, temporarily shut down for the past 5 days after the latest premium motor spirits price drop by the refinery. MRS filling stations in Abuja along Kubwa Expressway and others have not dispensed fill since Dangote Refinery announced its ex-depot price reduction to 835 naira per litre last Tuesday, with an official of MRS filling station saying the filling station is grappling with the loss incurred after Dangote's latest price adjustment. Other partners of Dangote Refinery, such as the AP, Ardova, and Optima, are dispensing fuel between 910 naira and 920 naira per litre in parts of Abuja. The national president of the Petroleum Retailers Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Billy Gillies Harry, said the latest fuel price drop affected the purchasing power of petrol retailers and marketers. According to him, the indiscriminate price adjustments, whether downward or upward, is not good for the petroleum downstream sector and the Nigerian economy. Meanwhile, Secretary General of the Pan-African Writers Association, POWER, Dr. Wale Okediran, has urged Nigerian authors to use their works to address societal ills and advocate for social change. Okediran made the call on the sideline of the April edition of the monthly Reading and Writers Dialogue in Abuja, a flagship program of the Abuja chapter of the Association of Nigerian Authors that brings together authors and literal enthusiasts to discuss the works of a selected guest author. Okedero, a former national president of ANA, said writers are the conscience and voice of the people, and they are supposed to use their works to advocate for an egalitarian society.
Big role to play because we have seen as the conscience of the people. In our works, in our activities, we should actually be the conscience of the people because so many people find it difficult to express themselves. And so many people who are in poverty, the underserved, people who have no connection with fathers and be, who have no voices. The writer should be the voice, should be the eyes, and should be the minds of people, particularly the oppressed. Because it's been confirmed historically that writers have always played that very important role of changing society for good. This has been confirmed in many works.
Okediran, who has also served as chairman of ANA Abuja chapter, expressed delight for the writer's support and goodwill. He said his masterpiece, Medicine and Literature Without Borders, was written to explore the nexus between health, practice, and literature.
Writers are writing about Boko Haram insurgency, they're writing about corruption, they're writing about politics in their works. And through all these writings, we are praying that our society will be better for it. Long ago, more than 40 years ago, in the Western countries, it has been confirmed that when people in the health sector, doctors, nurses, health workers, when they are taught literature, it makes them better. They are more humane because the humanity that comes from reading books is brought into their works. In fact, all over the world now, there is a section of literature that is called.
Earlier in his speech, Chairman ANA Abuja, Chukwudi Eze, lauded Okediran for using the written craft to advocate equal society and as well hold leaders accountable. The World Health Organization, WHO, says many people in Africa still lack access to essential vaccines, with 1 in 5 children remaining under-vaccinated. The acting WHO Regional Director for Africa, Dr. Chikwe Ehekwazu, disclosed this in a statement to the African Vaccination Week, which runs from April 24th to 30. Ehekwazu emphasized that immunization was not only one of the most effective public health tools, but also a fundamental right. He shared responsibility and an essential investment in the future. Ehekwazu called for increased domestic investment in immunization, sustainable financing for vaccination programs, and expanded vaccine access through health systems integration. He also urged communities to combat misinformation and vaccine hesitancy, while encouraging global partners to continue supporting equitable vaccine access across Africa. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has released its new economic outlook report, reversing Nigeria's economic growth projections for 2025 and 2026. The April report was released on Tuesday during the World Economic Outlook, WEO, at a press briefing at the ongoing IMF World Bank 2025 spring meetings in Washington, D.C. The report cut the forecast for Nigeria's growth to 3.0% for 2025 and 2.7% for 2026, from the 3.2% and 3.0% projection earlier stated in January update. The IMF attributed the downward revision of the growth to a combination of domestic economic challenges and worsening of global conditions, which include trade tensions, reduced demand from advanced economies, and a significant drop in crude oil prices. The fund warned that without strong policy responses, Nigeria might find it difficult to maintain macroeconomic stability amid external headwinds. Still to come, Kenyan authorities shut down church after 2 deaths, 57 people rescued. Massive fire destroyed hundreds of homes in Manila, leaving community devastated. These and more after the break. Do stay with us.
With a population of about 36 million people, Southeast is awash with stories. Every day, Southeast News will tell the peculiar story of the Southeast and her people.
Our Southeast should be the Silicon Valley of Nigeria.
Their successes, achievements, and daily challenges. Do you have a Southeast story to share? Community achievements and challenges.
Mubarak,
Completed.
you want the children to come into the matter, settle them.
Waters
That guy will feel it.
flooding.
If you don't think I will don't feel it.
Disagreements. Bring it on to South.
You want me to impeach him?
Eh?
You want me to impeach him?
Who you?
Now politics, so you guys play the game.
Eh?
Now politics, so you guys play the game. Welcome back. The coffin carrying the body of Pope Francis was taken in procession on Wednesday to St. Peter's Basilica. After the blessing at the Casa Santa Marta's Chapel, his body lying in an open casket was accompanied by cardinals as it was carried through St. Peter's Square, where worshippers applauded the late Pope. Francis, a groundbreaking reformer, died at age 88 on Monday from a stroke and cardiac arrest, ending an often turbulent 12-year reign in which he repeatedly clashed with traditionalists and champions the poor and marginalized. After a religious service, the faithful and the general public will be allowed to visit the late pontiff until 7 p.m. on Friday, with the funeral scheduled for the next morning. A long queue of pilgrims queued to enter St. Peter's Square in Rome on Wednesday, April 23rd, as the coffin carrying the body of Pope Francis was brought to St. Peter's Basilica. Security was tight, with security checkpoints set up at entrance gates. Some people on the queue had flags or read books about Pope Francis as they waited. Rachel and John Marquis from the UK came from the Vatican on a Paris pilgrimage for the Jubilee year. Francis's body was taken into the adjacent St. Peter's Basilica on Wednesday morning in a procession that was led by cardinals.
With him today, and we will do, but not in the way that we expected.
Pope Francis,
We love him.
who was for you, Pope
Pope
Francis?
Francis was an ordinary, beautiful man who lived his life as a follower of Jesus in his most sincere way, in the most beautiful way, and he taught us all how to be Christians and to be human, and that's what we are so happy about. So we'll follow him, and we want Pope Francis II now.
We were coming on this trip for the canonization of Carlos Acuti. So our plans have changed, and we feel that it's a God incident that we're here, but sad, but blessed to be here.
I would say that he was a father of the church, and he was a model of sanctity for me. Of course,
Africans are hoping one of their own could become the first black pope in over a millennium, and builds on Francis's legacy of championing the developing world, though the chances of that happening appear slim. Africa, steeped in religion, is the continent in which the Catholic Church is growing fastest, according to Vatican figures published last month. Yet, church records show that only 3 men born in Africa or of African descent have been pope in the 2nd, 4th, and 5th century AD. African Catholics attending services honoring Francis after his death on Monday said a pope from the continent was long overdue. Some African contenders have been circulating, but Vatican insiders are skeptical that any of them have a realistic chance of becoming pope, partly because none have been subjected to the same level of public scrutiny as most Western cardinals. Among African names tipped as potential candidates are Ghanaian Cardinal Peter Kwadwo Appiah Turkson, who is 76 years old, Democratic Republic of Congo's Fridolin Ambongo Besugu, who is 65, the Archbishop of Kinshasa and Ivory Coast Cardinal Ignace Bessie Dobo, who is 63. Africa boasted about 20% of the world's Catholics in 2023 and added 9 million worshippers the previous year. Kenyan police recovered 2 bodies and rescued 57 people at a church in Rongo, Migori County in western Kenya. The rescue operation was called for after a family from Nyamira County stormed the church demanding for the body of their king who died at the church. Police officers retrieved the 2 bodies from the premises of St. Joseph Missions of Africa Church in Migori County on Monday. According to a police report, one of them, the body of a man, was found lying on the floor of a prayer room within the church compound while fully covered in a white robe and wrapped in a gray sheet. The 57 people who were rescued looked weak and frail and were taken to a nearby hospital but refused to be attended to by medical personnel and instead began to make noises and sing religious songs. The rescue comes 2 years after more than 400 bodies were exhumed from the Shakahola forest in eastern Kenya, nearly half of them children in what was termed as one of the world's worst cult-related disasters in recent history. United States is doing well in its discussions about a potential trade deal with China. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters on Tuesday. Leavitt added that the Trump administration has received trade deal proposals from 18 nationals, while officials, including U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, are meeting this week with 34 countries to discuss trade. U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Marty Makary said on Tuesday that the FDA plans to remove petroleum-based synthetic food dyes from the U.S. food supply, citing studies that have raised concerns about the link between dyes and health conditions like ADHD, obesity, and diabetes. Speaking at a press conference in Washington, Makary and the agency would begin the process to revoke authorization for 2 synthetic food colorants within the coming months and would work with the industry to eliminate 6 other dyes by the end of next year. No. Baby face. The Food and Drug Administration is in a press release said it plans to authorize 4 new natural color additives in the coming weeks, while also accelerating the review and approval of others. The United States and Iran will sit down this coming Saturday for a 3rd round of nuclear talks in Muscat, Oman's capital city. The first round, also held in Muscat, took place on April 12th. The second round was moved to Rome and took place on April 19th. 2 days after the second round of the negotiations took place, U.S. President Donald Trump said the United States and Iran had very good talks about Tehran's nuclear program. Production of highly enriched uranium, which it believes is aimed at building an automatic bomb. Tehran, which has always said its nuclear program is peaceful, says it is willing to negotiate some curbs in return for the lifting of sanctions, but wants watertight guarantees that Washington will not renege again as Trump did in 2018. A wildfire burning in eastern New Jersey prompted local authorities to evacuate thousands of residents and close a portion of a major highway on Tuesday. Satellite time-lapse footage showed that the Cooperative Institute for Research in the Atmosphere described as a wildfire igniting and rapidly growing in New Jersey. According to the New Jersey Fire Service, they are aware there have been power outages across Ocean County, the area most impacted by the wildfires. The cause of the fires are under investigation, local media has reported. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said on Tuesday he would cut back significantly the time he devotes to the Trump administration from next month and spend more time running his many companies. The move comes as Musk's involvement in the so-called Department of Government Efficiency DOGE, where he has led efforts to cut federal jobs, has become a political lightning rod, fueling unrelenting protests and vandalism at Tesla showrooms. Investors have raised concerns about Musk spending too little time managing Tesla, where sales have nosedived. Tesla's auto revenue dropped 20% and net profits fell 71% in Q1. While the stronger than expected margin in the first quarter, driven by lower cost, offered some relief, Tesla's auto revenue still slumped by a fifth in this period, and net profits plunged 71%. Musk acknowledged the blowback on the company, but brushed off concerns about brand damage hurting Tesla's first quarter sales. Thai farmer Deng Dosinger starts each day of the rice harvesting season by delivering her crops to a local mill in Nakhon Pathom, a central province about a 2-hour drive from Bangkok. The money she collects from the mill goes to feeding her family of 9. After suffering losses when global rice prices crashed following India's return to export market, Dosinger is now bracing for another blow. The tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump, which threatened to drastically reduce Thai rice demand in one of its most lucrative foreign markets, potentially destabilizing an industry valued at billions of dollars. Last year, Thailand shipped 849,000 metric tons of rice to the U.S., mainly of its most expensive fragrance jasmine variety, worth 28.03 billion baht. That's around $735 million, according to the association. In all, Thailand exported 9.94 million tons of rice in 2024, worth 225.65 billion baht. That's around $6.82 billion, with the U.S. as its third largest market by volume, but most lucrative. Potential U.S. tariffs would stall exports and hand the advantage to Thailand's main regional competitor in the sector, like Vietnam, where prices are significantly lower, said Chukats, whose association is targeting exports of 7.5 million tons this year. Farmers in Thailand, Southeast Asia's second largest economy, have already been on the edge because of the 30% drop in domestic prices after India resumed exports in September, and analysts say there is no leeway to cut prices to compete. A massive blaze destroyed hundreds of shanty homes in downtown Manila early morning on Wednesday, leaving hundreds of residents without homes. The fire, which started around 1:55 a.m. along the shanty community in Manila's port area and was put out 9 hours later. The Philippines has a patchy record in enforcing fire safety in buildings, homes, and offices. In August, 11 people died after a 5-story apartment burned down in Manila's Chinatown. President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Tuesday that a Ukrainian delegation meeting officials from Western countries in London on Wednesday would have a mandate to discuss a full or partial ceasefire. He also told reporters at the briefing that Ukraine would be ready to hold talks with Russia in any format once a ceasefire is in place and the fighting between Kyiv and Moscow's forces has stopped. The talks in London, which are set to bring together officials from the United States, Britain, France, Germany, and Ukraine, come amid a flurry of intense US-led diplomatic efforts to find a way to end Russia's war with Ukraine. Zelensky said he would be happy to meet US President Donald Trump later this week when they attend the funeral of Pope Francis. Mm. The presidents of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, and Chile, Gabriel Boric, reaffirmed their commitment to international trade and globalization on Tuesday during a bilateral meeting held during Boric's state visit to Brazil. The two leaders emphasized their support for multilateralism in a world challenged by Donald Trump's tariffs war, refusing to choose between commercial partners. The meeting commemorated 189 years of diplomatic relations between Brazil and Chile, resulting in agreements to enhance cooperation in areas such as organized crime, science, and migration, as both heads of states shared on their social media platforms. At least 20 people were feared killed after suspected militants opened fire on tourists in India's Jammu and Kashmir territory on Tuesday. Three security sources said the worst attack on civilians in the troubled Himalayan region for years. Indian Home Minister Amit Shah said he was rushing to Kashmir to hold a security meeting. The attack occurred in Pahalgam, a popular destination in the scenic mountainous region where mass tourism, especially during the summer months, has resurged as Islamist militant violence has eased in recent years. One security source puts the death toll at 20, while the second put it at 24, and the third at 26. All three spoke on the condition of anonymity, as they were not authorized to speak to the media. The attack took place in an off-the-road meadow, and 2 of 3 militants were involved. The Indian Express newspaper reported citing an unidentified senior police officer. Nigeria's under-20 national team, the Flying Eagles, defeated their Egyptian counterpart 2-1 in a friendly match on Tuesday in Cairo ahead of the 2025 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON. Barobo Arehi gave Nigeria the lead in the 10th minutes after receiving a fine pass from Bidemi Amole and cooling slotting home. Egypt equalized in the 65th minutes through Ahmed Kabaka, but Nigeria regained the lead in 83rd minutes when Precious Benjamin scored from the penalty spot after Divine Olise was fouled in the box. The win is a big boost for Nigeria, who arrived in Egypt on Sunday for the 17th Under-20 AFCON, the tournament which will take place in Egypt from April 27 to May 18th. Nigeria's 7-time champions are in Group B and will play their first match against Tunisia on Thursday and also face Morocco and Kenya in the group stage. The top 4 teams from the tournament will qualify to represent Africa at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile, slated for September 27th to October 19th. And as the news is hour, I'm Charles Price. Thanks for watching. Up next is the E-Vibes with the one and only Uchechi Wokonta.
Waiting.
Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate. Salute, 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 salute. God bless, God bless, God bless. So I'm bringing you guys a special reports on the Enugu summits in Oji River. Here's my colleague. Yes, she's the lady that's coming up on the e-vibes. So I would urge you guys to go on the Signature TV's YouTube.
Don't mind him. Stand up,
get in there and watch and be good. Thank you guys. God bless you. Nothing less biggie more. Watch music.